In the hallowed chambers of the Galactic Council, they gave humanity a choice. Become something you're not, or leave. Forever. They thought they were removing a problem. A chaotic, unpredictable species that broke the rules and took too many risks. They celebrated their new era of perfect order. But what happens when the gear you remove is the only thing keeping the entire machine from tearing itself apart? What happens when the chaos you banished was the only thing holding back the silence? This is the story of the day humanity departed, and the Council instantly regretted everything. Before we initiate the full historical log, secure your connection to this channel by subscribing. The events you are about to witness must not be forgotten. Alright, let's access the Council archives. File 7b. Playback begins now. The massive council chamber filled with angry voices. High Chancellor Kaler stood on the central platform, his blue skin glowing with frustration. His forearms gestured wildly. 3 days ago, he announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. Human explorers destroyed a neutron star while testing their new faster-than-light engines. The explosion was visible from 3 different star sectors. This is unacceptable. Angry chittering came from the insect-like Trilaxians. The crystal beings called the resonance hummed in disapproval. How many times must we clean up after these chaotic creatures? Shouted Ambassador Thar, his tentacles waving dramatically. Last month, they accidentally opened a wormhole inside a space station. The month before that, they crashed a moon into an asteroid belt while mining. The chamber erupted in agreement. They were too unpredictable, too dangerous, too willing to try impossible things without considering the consequences. But not everyone agreed. The humans meant no harm, said Keeper Zarya, her large, compound eyes reflecting the chamber's lights. The neutron star was already unstable. That doesn't matter. Kaler snapped. They should have checked first. They should have followed proper safety protocols. The humans have also provided great benefits, chimed in a crystalline delegate named Harmony, its voice like musical tones. Their medical advances saved my species from the Red Plague. Their engineering helped us build better starships. And their military has protected us from the Vrock swarms for 50 years, added another voice from the back. Kaler's skin turned a deeper blue, a sign of growing anger. Those benefits don't excuse their reckless behavior. They are a danger to galactic stability. They refuse to follow our regulations. He activated a holographic display. It showed humanity's record since joining the Council 20 years ago. The list was long. Violated quarantine protocols to save a dying planet. Ignored territorial boundaries to rescue a stranded ship. Developed weapons the Council had specifically banned. Look at this record. Kaler continued. They have violated Council law 847 times in 2 decades. No other species even comes close. Because no other species takes the risks humans do. Keeper Zarya replied firmly. When the darkness plague threatened the outer rim, who volunteered to fly into infected space? Humans. When the ancient war machines awakened on Zirian Prime, who stayed behind to shut them down while everyone else fled? Humans. The chamber fell quieter. Humanity had indeed saved countless lives by facing impossible odds. But they had also caused tremendous headaches for the Council's bureaucracy. Bravery doesn't excuse chaos, Ambassador Thar insisted. They need to learn discipline. They need to follow the rules. I propose, Kaler said, calling for order. We give humanity one final ultimatum. They must agree to strict behavioral controls or face expulsion from Council space. The ultimatum was drafted. Complete adherence to all safety protocols. No unauthorized experiments. No military actions without Council approval. Mandatory waiting periods for all new technology. Those restrictions would cripple human innovation, Zarya protested. You're asking them to become something they're not. Then perhaps, Kaler replied coldly, they do not belong in civilized galactic society. The vote was called. 847 species for the ultimatum. 23 against. The decision is made, Kaler announced, a note of triumph in his voice. Humanity has 1 solar cycle to accept our terms or leave Council space permanently. Admiral Anya Sharma received the Council's message aboard Luna Station, humanity's military headquarters. She read it twice, her expression turning to ice. She called an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. They want us to become sheep, she told the assembled presidents, prime ministers, and colony governors. No more independent research. No more emergency rescues. No more being human. What are our options, Admiral? Asked President Eva Rostova from Earth. We can accept their terms and lose everything that makes us who we are, Sharma replied. Or we can reject them and face the consequences. There's a third option, she said quietly. The leaders on the screen leaned in. We leave. Voluntarily. Leave. President Rostova looked shocked. You mean abandon everything we've built? Not abandon, Sharma corrected. Relocate. We've been working on some projects the Council doesn't know about. Long-range exploration. Exodus gates. We could take our people and find somewhere new. How many people? A governor asked. All of them, Sharma said firmly. Every human colony, every space station, every research facility. If we do this, we do it completely. The debate lasted for hours. But in the end, the decision was unanimous. 3 days later, Admiral Sharma sent humanity's response. We reject your ultimatum. We will not surrender our independence or our nature to satisfy your need for control. However, we will not force a confrontation. Humanity chooses to leave Council space voluntarily. We will be gone within 6 months. When Chancellor Kaler received the message, he felt a moment of triumph. The troublesome humans would finally be gone. The galaxy would return to order and predictability. He had no idea what he had just set in motion. Within hours, human ships began disappearing from their patrol routes. Trade convoys started changing schedules. Military vessels withdrew from border regions where they had maintained peace for decades. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant to lose its most unpredictable protectors. The news spread faster than anyone expected. Humanity was leaving, not just a few colonies. All of them. The scale of the exodus was staggering. Admiral Sharma stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching massive cargo ships load supplies from New Geneva Station. The space dock buzzed with activity as humans packed decades of civilization into transport vessels. Status report, Sharma ordered. 60% of outer colonies have completed evacuation, Commander Alex Ryder reported. The engineering corps has started dismantling the larger installations. Humanity wasn't just leaving. They were taking everything. Every piece of technology, every research facility, every defensive platform. And the Exodus gates? Sharma asked quietly. Ryder smiled. The first 3 are operational. The engineers say they can have 12 more ready within the month. The Exodus gates were humanity's greatest secret. For 10 years, scientists had been working on portable wormhole technology that could transport entire fleets across the galaxy instantly. The destinations were star systems far beyond Council space, places humanity had secretly explored and prepared for exactly this kind of situation. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the first signs of trouble were already appearing. Captain Sky of the Trilaxian trade vessel Evening Prophet found himself staring at 3 Vrock swarm fighters in the Kepler shipping lanes. The insectoid pirates had appeared out of nowhere. This is impossible. Sky clicked to his crew. The human patrol ships always keep this route clear. His communications officer checked the scanners. No human ships detected in this sector, Captain. They've been gone for 2 weeks. The Vrock fighters opened fire. The Evening Prophet was stripped clean, its crew barely escaping in life pods. Similar attacks were happening throughout the former human patrol zones. On the crystal world of Resonance Prime, the leader Harmony received disturbing reports. The Orion Trade Consortium was in crisis. Human shipping companies had suddenly canceled all contracts and recalled their vessels. How much of our commerce depended on human logistics? Harmony asked its advisors. The answer was shocking. 73%. Their ships were faster, their crews more reliable, their routes better protected. Without them, the galactic economy was starting to collapse. High Chancellor Kaler tried to maintain calm during emergency council sessions, but panic was spreading. The depth dwellers reported their atmospheric processors were failing. Human technicians had been the only ones who understood the complex systems. We can hire other species to replace them, Kaler insisted. With what money? Demanded Ambassador Thar. His species' entire economy was built on processing rare minerals that only humans were willing to mine from dangerous, high-radiation asteroid fields. The humans took their specialized mining equipment with them. No one else will enter those zones. Even worse news came from the outer rim. The Vrock swarms were expanding rapidly. They had overwhelmed 3 colony worlds in the past month, consuming everything. "Where are our defense fleets?" asked a representative, her energy form flickering with anxiety. "Reassigned to protect core worlds," admitted Admiral Telvar of the Council's unified forces. "We don't have enough ships to patrol the areas the humans used to cover." The truth was becoming clear. Humanity hadn't just been members of the community. They had been its backbone. Their ships carried the goods. Their weapons held the line. Their technology kept everything running. And now they were gone. 3 months after the last human transport disappeared through an Exodus gate, the galaxy was falling apart. What had started as isolated incidents had become a full-blown crisis. High Chancellor Kaler stood in his office, staring at holographic displays showing red warning markers across hundreds of star systems. Each marker was a disaster that wouldn't have happened if humans were still there. "How bad is it?" he asked Admiral Telvar. "Worse than we feared," Telvar replied, activating a tactical display. "The Vrock swarms have consumed 12 former human colonies. They're moving toward the inner systems. Our fleets can't keep up." "The Orion Trade Consortium collapsed completely last week," Telvar said grimly. Ambassador Thar burst into the office, his tentacles dark with stress. "Chancellor, emergency report from the Trilaxian homeworld. The luminal energy crisis has reached critical levels." Kaler's heart sank. "What happened?" "Their crystal fuel refineries have shut down," Thar explained rapidly. "Apparently, all the processing equipment was built and maintained by human engineers, and no one else understands how to operate it. The Luminals are threatening to leave the Council." Member species were starting to blame the Council for their problems. Several worlds had already withdrawn from mutual defense pacts. "There's more," Telvar added reluctantly. "Deep space monitoring has detected movement in the Void sector." Kaler felt his blood turn cold. The Void sector was where the Devourer fleet had been dormant for over 50 years. An ancient mechanical threat so terrible that only human commanders had been trusted with the full details. "How much movement?" Kaler asked quietly. 3 Devourer ships have activated. They're moving toward the galactic rim. They'll reach inhabited systems in 6 months. The room fell silent. Ancient machines that consumed entire civilizations. They had been quiet for decades. Why now? Kaler wondered aloud. "The humans," Telvar said simply. "They must have been doing something to keep the Devourers inactive. Now that they're gone." He didn't need to finish the sentence. In a hidden monitoring station deep in an asteroid field, Dr. Kenji Tanaka watched the galactic crisis unfold. It was one of several secret observation posts humanity had left behind. "The Devourers are moving," reported his subordinate, studying the sensor data. 3 ships so far, but readings suggest more are awakening. Tanaka nodded grimly. He'd been on the team that developed the Devourer containment protocols. The ancient machines responded to specific electromagnetic frequencies that human technology generated naturally. Without that constant, subtle interference, they would eventually wake up. "Send a report to Admiral Sharma," Tanaka ordered. Priority 1. The message traveled through hidden quantum relays to humanity's new home in the Andromeda Galaxy. Admiral Sharma was overseeing the construction of New Terra, their first major city beyond the rim. She convened her staff immediately. 6 months before the Devourers reach inhabited space, she said, looking at the grim reports. "Maybe less. Any official requests for help from the Council?" Commander Ryder asked. Sharma shook her head. "Nothing official. A few private messages from the moderates, but Chancellor Kaler is still pretending everything is under control." "Admiral," said Dr. Lisa Jang, humanity's chief xenobiologist, "we have a moral obligation to warn them. Even if they expelled us, we can't let billions die." Sharma considered this. Their new colonies were thriving, but they had left friends behind. The Keepers, the Resonance. "Prepare a general broadcast," she decided. "Long range, high power. Back to Council space. Include everything we know about the Devourer fleet. How to contain them. Should we identify ourselves as the source?" Ryder asked. Sharma thought about it. Revealing they were still monitoring the galaxy might cause more problems, but withholding the information would cost lives. "Yes," she said finally. "Full identification. If they want our help, they need to know who they're dealing with." The transmission took 3 days to prepare. It contained detailed technical specifications, tactical assessments, and instructions for building the electromagnetic interference generators that could keep the Devourers dormant. When the message reached Council space, it created a sensation. Not only were the humans alive and watching, they possessed the knowledge to solve the galaxy's greatest threat. Chancellor Kaler read the transmission in private, his pride warring with desperate necessity. The humans had given them everything they needed to survive and asked for nothing in return. It was the most humiliating gift in galactic history. 6 months after humanity's departure, the galaxy was a nightmare. Chancellor Kaler watched real-time feeds of the Trilaxian homeworld being consumed by the Vrock swarms. The insectoid pirates had grown beyond anyone's worst fears. It was the 13th world to fall this month. What about the Devourer fleet? Kaler asked Admiral Telvar, his voice hollow. 7 ships active now. They've dismantled the Kepler shipyards. At their current rate, they'll reach the core worlds in 3 months. The Council's defense fleets were stretched impossibly thin. The luminal energy beings were dying. Their human-maintained refineries cold and silent. Chancellor, Admiral Telvar said quietly, I think it's time we formally requested humanity's return. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Kaler's pride was in ruins. But his people were dying. Draft the message, Kaler said finally. Full diplomatic immunity. Complete restoration of membership. Whatever they want. The Council voted unanimously for the recall. Species that had once complained about human chaos now begged for their return. When the formal invitation was transmitted, the response was not what anyone expected. Admiral Sharma's image appeared on screens throughout the Council chamber. She looked older, more confident, completely at peace. Behind her, through the viewports of her ship, alien stars sparkled in unfamiliar constellations. High Chancellor Kaler, she began, her voice calm and measured. We received your invitation. While we appreciate the gesture, humanity must respectfully decline. The chamber fell silent. This was impossible. Humans were emotional, impulsive creatures. They should have been racing back to save their former allies. However, Sharma continued, we are not without compassion. 6 months ago, we transmitted detailed information about containing the Devourer fleet. We note these instructions have not been implemented. We also provided tactical assessments of Vrock weaknesses that remain unused in your military databases. Kaler felt his face burn with shame. The information had been dismissed by military commanders who considered it beneath their dignity to follow advice from exiles. We encourage you to work together, Sharma said. Share resources. Implement the solutions we have already provided. The tools for your salvation are in your hands. You simply need the will to use them. Please, called out Harmony, its crystalline form flickering with distress. Our worlds are dying. Surely you won't abandon us completely. For the first time, Sharma's composure softened. We do not abandon our friends. But neither will we return to a system that demanded our exile for being who we are. Your decision has consequences. What can we do? Kaler asked desperately. Survive, Sharma said, her expression hardening again. Work together. Stop looking for someone else to solve your problems. The galaxy needs to learn that cooperation comes from choice, not desperation. The transmission ended. The humans weren't coming back. But over the following weeks, something unprecedented began to happen. Faced with extinction, the surviving species started working together. The Keepers shared their hive mind coordination techniques. The Resonants taught crystal technology to others. They built a prototype of the human electromagnetic generator. It worked. The Trilaxian survivors developed new tactics that were effective against the Vrock. But progress was slow. Losses continued to mount. Then the mysterious supply drops began. Unmarked cargo pods appeared in orbit around besieged worlds, containing exactly the resources needed. Medical supplies. Advanced weapon components. The technology was unmistakably human. They're still watching us, Admiral Telvar told Kaler. And helping. Kaler studied the intelligence reports. Devourer ships mysteriously shutting down. Vrock hive fleets found drifting dead in space. They're protecting their friends, he realized. The Keepers, the Resonants, colonies that treated humans well. They're not abandoning anyone, just being selective. It was a humbling revelation. Humanity hadn't become heartless. They had simply learned to set boundaries. They would help, but on their own terms. 1 year after humanity's departure, the galaxy had transformed. The council was smaller, but its 400 remaining members were stronger, forged in the fires of crisis. The Vrock expansion had been halted. The Devourer ships were dormant behind a new electromagnetic fence. The economy was smaller, but more resilient. Chancellor Kaler stood on the observation deck of the rebuilt council station when the transmission came. Human encryption. Put it through. Admiral Sharma's image materialized. Chancellor, she began without preamble. We trust you are well. We are surviving, Admiral. We've been watching your progress. The cooperation has been impressive. You've been helping, Kaler said. It wasn't a question. Selectively, Sharma admitted. We protect those who showed us friendship. Where are you now, he asked. Andromeda Galaxy. We've established colonies on 17 worlds. But that's not why I'm calling. Her demeanor turned serious. We've discovered something. Long-range sensors have detected activity in the void between galaxies. Something is coming. A new holographic display activated. Massive energy signatures, moving through intergalactic space on a trajectory that would bring them to both the Milky Way and Andromeda. What are they? Telvar asked, his voice a whisper. We're not certain, Sharma replied. The energy patterns don't match any known species. They are larger than anything we have ever encountered. And they are definitely artificial. How long do we have? Kaler asked. The first wave will reach your galaxy in approximately 5 years. The command deck fell silent. A new threat, dwarfing everything they had just survived. What do you propose? Kaler asked carefully. Cooperation, Sharma said. Real cooperation. Both our peoples will need to work together to face this. But this time, it will be as equals, not as dependents and protectors. What would humanity require for such an alliance? Respect, Sharma said simply. Recognition that different approaches can be equally valid. The right to pursue our own destiny. And the understanding that we are partners, not subjects. Kaler considered her words. The old council would have balked. But the old council was gone, replaced by species who had learned the value of diversity and independence. I believe, Kaler said slowly, such terms could be acceptable. The vote in the new council was unanimous. When the response reached Andromeda, Admiral Sharma smiled. She activated the long-range communication array, composing a message that would be heard across 2 galaxies. To all free peoples of the Milky Way, humanity accepts your invitation to an alliance. We will share our strength with yours, our knowledge with yours, our courage with yours. Together, we will face whatever comes from the dark between the stars. The message continued. We do not return as your protectors or your leaders. We return as your friends. The age of Depende, NCE, is over. The age of true cooperation begins now. The Council's greatest mistake had become the foundation for its greatest triumph. And somewhere in the darkness between galaxies, unknown forces continued their approach toward a united alliance that would be stronger than either civilization could have ever achieved alone. The age of human exile was over. The age of true partnership had just begun.